With shows like Silo, Severance, and Foundation, Apple Plus has really solidified itself as the go-to platform for sci-fi content. So I was pretty excited when Apple announced a new sci-fi mystery show starring Uncle Owen and the girl from Labyrinth.
Someone save me! Someone take me away from this awful place!
This is going to be an in-depth guide into the biggest theories and unanswered questions from the first 2 episodes of Dark Matter. And don't worry, I haven't read the book this show is based off, so there won't be any spoilers. Those of you who have read it can laugh at how wrong my theories are. I've also left timestamps below so you can see all the topics I'll be covering. Now make sure to like and subscribe, because in an alternate universe you don't, and I have to go back to my old job writing diss tracks for Drake. And a word of note, because there are 2 Jasons, I will be referring to the Jason who has a family simply as Jason, and the more work career focused Jason as Jay, just to make it easier to distinguish between the 2. At the beginning of episode 1, we get this strange scene of a man stepping out of this cube known as a Tesseract, a smaller model of which is seen on the cover of this magazine held by Jay. In episode 2, we'll see Jason going through Jay's notes, which not only show diagrams of this cube, but explain a crazy theory in quantum mechanics known as superposition. In episode 1, Jason tries to explain this to his bored students using the analogy of Schrodinger's cat, that for a brief moment in time, the observer does not know if the cat is dead or alive. Thus, it exists in a state of superposition, in which it is simultaneously both. If we extend this analogy to our 2 Jasons, we get a clearer picture of what's going on. Jason's superposition state is one in which he simultaneously lives a life where he chooses family over his work, this is our Jason character, and one in which he chooses work over his family, this is our Jay character. In episode 2, we learn that in Jay's timeline, Daniela got an abortion because Jay wanted to focus on his work, while in Jason's timeline, they had the child who would grow up to become Charlie. This pivotal decision seems to be the moment their 2 timelines split, as the 2 Jasons have the same exact memory up until this point. Now it appears that Jay regrets his decision and uses this Tesseract to essentially swap lives with Jason. He is the mysterious masked man that kidnaps Jason after leaving the bar. Just how this switch to a different reality takes place is currently unknown, but you can bet it involves this cube. But back to the very first scene of episode 1. The way this guy comes out of the cube, looking around the place with his flashlight and seeing his backpack full of supplies, it appears it's his first time here. If I were a betting man, I think what we're looking at is Jay's first, if not only, successful attempt at making it to Jason's world. This appears to be the hangar, the same place the masked man will take Jason later in the episode. Throughout episodes 1 and 2, we get these mysterious shots of Jay in a storage locker. This locker has guns, money, cell phones, canned goods, and all sorts of Velocity Labs equipment. Velocity Labs is the company Jay goes on to create in his timeline, which doesn't exist in Jason's. In this notebook, we can see a floor plan of Jason's house and a calendar of what Jason has been up to, so it appears Jay has been stalking him in preparation for taking over his life. But what is this? This vial may contain the key to travel within the Tesseract. It might also be connected to this glowing container the masked man has, which he says contains, quote, possibility. And what's the deal with all these cell phones? All of them are on low battery, and it's not like Jay has any friends in this timeline to warrant this. Perhaps they're pivotal in him getting back to his reality, or is it crazy to imagine he's somehow able to message people from one reality to another? We have to ask ourselves, is Jay, the masked man, evil? He says to Jason,
"I'm doing this for all. Both of us."
Remember that Jay's been stalking Jason for a length of time and probably knows his life isn't the most fulfilling, and that by switching places with him, he's actually doing him a favor. This switch, in his mind, is allowing the both of them to experience what their lives would have been like if they had not made that choice they did 15 years ago. But what Jay isn't giving Jason is the ability to make that choice for himself. So I wouldn't consider Jay 100% evil. In his own warped mind, he thinks what he's doing is right, even though he's going about it in totally the wrong way. It's a very selfish decision. One of the more interesting pieces of information found in episode 1 was that Jay wasn't the first person to go into this Tesseract. Jason just ends up being the only one to make it back, meaning there are potentially other Velocity Lab employees or test subjects in different realities. But this poses a lot of interesting questions. Are there just two realities, or are there infinite? Did the earlier subjects actually make it and decide not to come back, or did they die in the attempt? This all goes back to this idea of superposition. They can be both at the same time. We also learn that Jay has been gone for 14 months and 10 days. Does time work differently in both realities, or is that just how long it took Jay to find Jason and come up with a plan to switch places? While assessed at the hospital, a doctor claims that Jason's blood work showed a psychoactive compound the likes of which she has never seen. This is likely referring to the needle he was given by the masked man. But what was in it? Is this some new drug created by Velocity Labs? Is it that weird purple compound? And is this compound necessary for traveling within the Tesseract? Later in episode 2, Ryan tells Jason that he made compounds for Jason under the table. Is he somehow involved? Now, the most shocking part of the first 2 episodes has to be the death of Daniela, and there are some really weird and interesting things that happen in this scene that I want to look at. Preceding her death, Jason and Daniela were definitely gonna hook up. Now, I don't know if this is considered cheating since it's his wife, but also not really. The doorbell interrupts their makeout session, which would imply that Dawn, this muscle from Velocity Labs, didn't intend on killing Daniela. It was only after Daniela wouldn't put down her phone that she was shot, but let me know what you think. Now, before Jason goes to the door, Daniela receives a call from an unknown number that hangs up. This could be anyone, but my mind immediately goes to the pack of charging batteries in Jay's storage locker. Daniela also tries to call someone. My guess is 911, but she only ends up pressing 2 buttons before being shot. Jason is tasered, tied up, and duct taped with the same color duct tape Jay put in his bag from his storage locker. Coincidence? Let me know in the comments. That about does it for episodes 1 and 2. I'll definitely be checking out episode 3, and if the mysteries keep coming, I plan on doing more Dark Matter videos. Thanks for watching, make sure to like and subscribe, and let me know what you think of the show so far in the comments below. Until next time, remember, Daddy loves you very much.